Purdue University, as you know, is located in West Lafayette, Indiana. We're in the American Midwest. And some of the things that I heard really are very contrary to what's happening in the Midwest. So if you look at our student placement, 80% of them had jobs when they started, and the expectation is the same this year. If you look at what the smaller companies in the Midwest are doing, for the last 4 months, they've seen growth. If you look at what happened to our real estate, we didn't suffer any crash. We didn't grow either. We didn't grow. We didn't have a bubble. So if there was a bubble, it was in the two coasts. And so things are actually quite different across the United States. Indiana is primarily a manufacturing economy. 35% of the state GDP comes from manufacturing. So people are out there making real things. And I would argue that as the dollar falls, more of those things are going to be made in the United States. So I'm going to start off with that tack. So let's sort of say, let's look on the brighter side. So just a quick introduction. My name is Anant Iyer. I teach at Purdue University. I live in West Lafayette, Indiana, and I've lived there since '96. What I want to talk about is environmental regulation and plans that the Department of Energy in the United States has, and potentially its impact. And I'm going to talk about a specific little piece just as sort of a microcosm of what may happen. But of course, in all of these things, there are no guarantees. As Joe said, this is not something which tells you go out and this is going to happen. But, you know, this is sort of a guess. And let's look in a little detail. And perhaps there is a way out. I mean, in fact, you know, we have to be a little Pollyannas in all of this. There is probably a way out. This is joint work with Professor Svenja Sommer, who teaches in Paris, and my PhD student, Mohammed Saud. So let me tell you a little bit about my sort of take on things, and perhaps I'm going to start off with giving you something from the Department of Energy website in the United States. And here I'm going to talk about zero energy goals by the Department of Energy. You can just go to the Department of Energy website in the United States, and here's what they said. So here's basically the statement. It says, in support of the nation working, this is nation, here is the United States, working towards greater energy independence, cleaner environment, the Building Technology Program embraces the strategic goal of generating net zero energy buildings to reduce national energy demand. So that's the plan. Okay? So that's let's see how this plan is going to unfold. The way it's going to unfold is that the Building Technologies Program's strategic goal is to create technologies and design approaches that generate marketable zero energy goals by 2020. That's not too far away. And zero energy commercial buildings by 2025. The grander goal is net zero residential all across the United States by 2050. Okay. Now, any of you who have a home, start thinking about how your home is going to become net zero. Okay. So just start thinking about it. Think about the stimulus impact of regulation on everything. You just have to think back to Stuart's slide on everything that's connected to a home. Start dreaming. Every industry potentially gets a stimulus, not in terms of money, but in terms of regulatory change. Okay? So let's start thinking about it. Now, I'm an operations guy. What I think when a regulation comes in is, how are those products going to be made? Where are they going to be made? What are the designs going to look like? Who's going to generate the technologies? And by the way, why should we care about generating these technologies right now? Where's the big payoff? Remember to the end of Joe's slide, he talked about growth in China and India. Why are we worried about their growth? Remember that their energy consumption per capita in India and China are a fraction of what is being consumed in the United States. What are we worried about? Growth in those economies that follows the same pattern as what happened in the United States. So it's in the interest of the United States, of Western Europe, of all of Europe, to develop new technologies so that growth happens without the huge energy cost. Now, how would you come up with that if you're not trying it yourself? My argument is, here's the opportunity. So I look at it, I'm trained as an engineer. When I see a problem, my plan is to fix it. Not describe it, fix it. How can we fix it? Well, what we're going to do is fix it by coming up with technologies and changes, and let's sort of look at a particular example to try to see how that might manifest itself. Before that, what's a net zero energy building? the net zero energy building first starts with getting efficiency gains of 60 to 70% through efficiency improvements, and the remaining are supplied by renewable technology. So now we're thinking about using wind energy, using solar panels, all of these things, and all of that put together, the goal is to sort of decrease the energy usage. Now, of course, the part that I'm not going to talk about because I'm not qualified to do it is you really start thinking about geopolitically. It's important for the United States and for various countries to think about what the cost of energy dependence is. So you see the direction this is going. This is not driven purely by figuring out how to sell to India, China, and Brazil, but it's driven by other interests, which I think you can project easily. So in this particular context, what I want to talk about is something very specific. And I'm going to talk about one industry that at least we've been studying. This is, in fact, what I'm presenting to you is sort of, I guess, sanitized versions of a research paper. But I'm going to not show you any equations or anything, but just get you thinking about how we as academics think about it, what one might learn from it, how we might get you to think about this problem. So imagine that you opened the papers, heard about this. How might you go about structuring the way you think about this problem? So I'm going to talk about the air conditioning market. Now, and here when I'm talking about air conditioning, I'm talking about central air conditioning. So across many, many sectors in the United States, homes have central air conditioning. And why do we care about that? Air conditioning accounts for 18% of US building energy consumption. And in the past, most of the air conditioning just met regulatory standards. Okay, so SEER, which is a way to record efficiency, and here's a definition. You've got to be complete having a definition. But if you don't care about the regulation, just say it's an efficiency rating. 10 was the rating. 10 SEER was the minimum standard. 75% of the market got that minimum standard. The only thing to note is regulation bites. Okay, if you say 10, people will take 10. 12. They just satisfy the standard. Now, what happened in this business? Now, this is a great industry. In particular, if you ask, why pick this industry? What do I care? Well, there's only one reason, being opportunistic. And I'll tell you what the opportunistic part was. 2 years ago, our dean, what do deans do? Deans usually go to meet wealthy potential benefactors. Okay? Particularly if they get old, the deans go more often. You can see why, right? So we had a potentially wealthy person who was chairman of a company. And that company was the largest air conditioning, heating and cooling distributor in the United States.